Hi, my name is Susan Wilson, and this is History Tidbits. Cool stuff you probably didn't know. All right, today's History Tidbits involves culinary history. More specifically, the chocolate chip cookie, whose real name is the Toll House cookie. Okay, so this requires a little bit of stepping back, and this is all Massachusetts history, although it becomes national history after that. Back in the 1930s, there was a woman named Ruth Wakefield, and she and her husband Ken bought an old toll house back in Whitman, Massachusetts. And Whitman is, the road in that area is, a lot of people would go from Boston down to either New Bedford or the Cape and take the road that Whitman is on to get there. Now, a toll house, what was a toll house? They bought a toll house. A toll house was the house on the edge of a road where the toll keeper would charge people for being on the road. We still have toll roads today. And they would generally have, outside of the toll house, when it was a toll house, a pike across the road, because you didn't want people just going back and forth. And there would be a pike there, and the person would pay the toll person on the road, and then they would turn the pike, which is where we get turnpike, okay? Today, in modern days, pikes tend to be more like this, okay, when we have them. But in those days, it was much easier just to have the pike turn in that direction. So they bought the toll house, not that they wanted to be toll keepers or that it was an active toll road anymore, but they bought it with the idea of turning it into an inn because it was still a very popular road, Boston to New Bedford to the Cape, etc. So in the 1930s, they turned it into an inn. And Ruth Wakefield was a dietitian. She was a lecturer on food. She knew a lot about it. And she actually created this cookie, all right? And here's the deal. There are many, many myths and legends about how it actually happened. Was it on purpose or by accident? And we will never know. Ruth is long gone, and some of the interviews she gave were 50 years after the fact. So it's, this is my favorite urban legend, or my favorite, I guess we could call it a creation myth about how this happened. Ruth used to make wonderful chocolate cookies. And she wanted to make sure there were certain times of day, times of the year, that there would be more people coming to the little inn they created where people would stop to have dinner and desserts and whatever. And she used to use a chocolate powder to make her chocolate cookies, but she ran out of the chocolate powder. And so she went, what'll I do? And she found a Nestle's semi-sweet chocolate bar. She went, I know what I'll do. If I break that up into little bits and put it in there, it'll melt throughout the whole cookie, and I'll still get a chocolate cookie. I'll just be using this melted chocolate bar instead of the powder. Well, needless to say, it didn't. It didn't melt, and instead, all the little chunks kind of spread a little but stayed in place. The Toll House cookie had been invented. People adored it. They got coverage in the local media, in Boston newspapers. They were on the Betty Crocker radio show, and it spread across America. Nestle's became very interested and ended up buying the recipe and the rights to the name from her. And therefore, actually, they started out by having semi-sweet chocolate bars with little markings in them so you could break it into little pieces. But by 1940, just before World War II broke out, they actually started marketing morsels, which were Toll House semi-sweet morsels that you would put in your cookies. So it became a sensation. According to legend, they only paid her $1 for the recipe, but she became a consultant for them. And then another part of the legend is that she received free Nestle's chocolate chip morsels for life. Anyway, should you go to Whitman, the toll house is no longer there. Ruth and her husband gave up the business in the 1960s. She died a decade later, and then in 1984 the building burned down, but they still have a little memorial there for it. What's interesting is in 1996 there was a vote for the official state dessert in Massachusetts. And Toll House cookies was up there because a state dessert has to be something invented in your state, but it lost to Boston cream pie. However, the following year, in 1997, they decided to have it made the official state cookie. So the Toll House cookie is, to this day, the official state cookie of the state of Massachusetts. Thank you, Ruth Wakefield. That's her name, Wakefield. Thank you, Ruth Wakefield. That was your history tidbit for the day. Thanks.